Hi, welcome to Debra Lynn's class. She's a member of the international faculty. She's been a member of Sweet Adeline since 2012, singing with Millennium Magic Chorus and two previous Sweet Adeline quartets. She's a professional singer, maintaining a private vocal studio since 1995 and a direct line scholar of the Garcia Marquez Bel Canto vocal production methodology started in the early 1800s. She's published in the Pitch Pipe, Harmonizer, and Keynote periodicals, and Debra has contributed her pedagogical understanding to the world of barbershop since 2010. Welcome, Debra. Looking forward to this.
Thank you, Mary. Hello, everybody. Woo! I know some folks I can only see names. If you have the ability to turn on your camera, it's helpful only because we use hand signals here. And if you do have a question, then I can be aware of it. All right, so as I was telling Jesse before you all jumped on, that I am planning on taking you all into a little bit of a deep dive today into Bel Canto. So before we begin, how many of you all have seen me or heard me speak before? So how many, just by a raise of hands? All right, and how many, this is the first time you've ever seen me? First time, okay. So let me say this. Today we'll do some experiential work together. There'll be some exercises to help you feel something unique and different within yourself. I'm going to just say at the outset that Bel Canto is a paradigm shift in singing. And how many of you all have been Sweet Adelines for more than 5 years? Okay, more than, all right, I'm gonna say, I see some that didn't raise their hand. More than one, Emily, how many for you?
I just joined last February.
Right before COVID. Woohoo! All righty then. This is exciting for you. Well, glad to have you. Glad to have you. But you've been singing a long time, I'm assuming. Yes. Okay. So how many of y'all have been singing for more than 5 years? Bravo. And how many of you all have had struggles associated with singing for more than 5 years? Something has been bothering you. It doesn't have to be, it can just be something that doesn't get resolved easily. Let's say it that way. All right, how many of y'all are complete control of your instrument? You can do everything the director wants anytime they ask you, and you're always in control. Okay, that usually gets a laugh, right? Because realistically, that's a very rare thing to be a singer that feels that much control. So today we're going to take you into a bit of Bel Canto. And I think we're just going to start by, I'm going to share screen. We're going to just jump right in. All right. I will allow time for questions. I know that we're going to have, is it Mary, you're going to be monitoring the chat is coming up. So questions are okay. When we go into PowerPoint, just be aware that I can only see a few of you. So if you do have a question, please type it into the chat for Mary to see. All right. And then we'll pop out of the PowerPoint at some point and do some work together. All right, here we go. So challenges of vocal production can be numerous. What I believe is that every aspect of control of the singing mechanism is within your body, that the internal production is where the magic is. And that everyone is capable of accessing top level, highest level efficiency, highest level beauty, highest level accuracy. And so we're going to just initially go into what our body thinks and how we process. All right. And I'm going to ask you all to just take this piece into account. I'm going to try to be very gentle with this, because what we have to do in order to take a look at an alternative approach to the methodology of singing, we have to unwind some of the beliefs we have. And in order for me to do that, I've got to help you understand some things internally. And we'll just see what kind of light bulbs go off as we go through this little journey today. So most of us have this idea that we have to move or propel sound to some distance. It can be here, it can be to the microphone, to the director, judges, 10th row, exit sign. The distance can vary, But the reality is most of us feel like we have to do something to move our sound out of our body into the world in front of us. So what happens is our body has this idea about how air works. Air goes in, air comes up, makes magic, and exits the building. There's a feeling of flow, all right? And in some cases, we've had training that talks about flow. We've had coaches have been in front of us and said, breathe deeper, breathe bigger, and now let's move that air through the vocal folds. And we have sort of I'm in charge of my breathing. I'm in charge of what happens at the level of the folds. So we think of air as gas to go, just like fuel. We fill up the tank, we sing a phrase. We're out of gas, we go back, we fill up the tank, we do it again. And over time, our objective becomes about filling and releasing, filling and releasing, filling and releasing. So what I'm going to say, and this is where the paradigm shift happens in Bel Canto, is that I have absolutely no concept of air as gas. I have absolutely no concept of moving air in my instrument at all. And I will give you some places to go where I actually think you should go hear some of my work so that you can hear the distinction, all right? I'll say it right now at the beginning that if you go to YouTube, to my channel that I'll share with you, and you listen to something I put up recently, which is the Mozart Alleluia. It's about 20 years old in terms of production, but you'll get to hear Bel Canto in the highest level of integration into the body. All right, so I'm going to ask the question, what if there was a way for us to control our air and our voice and all the elements in a different way? So in Bel Canto, we understand something that's called your inner timing. When this timing is off, this list of things appears, all right? Constriction and tension, pushing for high notes and low notes, passaggio, transitional area issues, breathiness, raspiness, rattle. Basses can sometimes have a little feeling like something's unstable in the very lowest notes, for example. Vibrato, excess vibrato, uncontrollable vibrato or tremolo, the signs of aging and the collapse of the voice, uneven tone quality, inconsistent resonance, inaccurate tuning, and inaccurate vowel targets, okay? In Bel Canto, all of these things in this list are related to the irregular air pressure moving across your vocal folds. And so in Bel Canto, we are concerned with fold efficiency, fold usage, fold function, and how easy it can be, although it's going to be a very weird concept as we start to try this, how easy it can be to get total control of the folds when we shift our objective. So I'm going to say, what if we could eliminate our air challenges completely? Because I dare say, for anyone that has been singing a long time, if you're having challenges, the biggest challenge you face is in the conversation around air. And it could be different things, controlling the breath for the whole phrase, making sure that you don't have breathy tone, inconsistent quality across your phrases where you feel like sound cuts out. So as we change our inner game, we activate the brilliance of your mind and let the brain do the work while you stay completely still and stable on the inside of your mechanism. So this is the first brain scratcher basically in Bel Canto, which is in Bel Canto, there is no out. There is no objective of moving anything out of my body past my face, all right? So we're going to go in now and start to do a little experiential stuff and see if I can, for those of you that are kinesthetically oriented, we're going to try to help you feel something. For those of you that are visually oriented, I'm giving you this PowerPoint so that you can actually start to see something about yourself. And then for those of you that are auditory, hopefully all of this will kind of come together, all right? So I'm going to have you take your hands and you're going to actually exhale your breath gently, releasing the air forward. like you normally would. Now turn your hands towards you, and I want you to very gently and inaudibly breathe in. And now release. And one more time, breathing in gently. And release. Now, the first key piece here is that all of us know how to do these mechanics. All of us have the capacity, and our bodies already do some of the things I'm about to talk to you about. But because we are not conscious of it, because it's not what we're focusing on, we are unaware that at the moment that we get to that height of what I'll call the suspension. So do it again for me. Release. Let's think ah in the mind and breathe towards self. The moment that your hands stopped, the internal instrument was in complete and total perfect position to sing. Release again. One more time. Thinking ah, gently and inaudibly breathe in. Hold still for me for a second. You notice the inside of your head feels open. The inside of the throat feels open, and the inside of your lungs feels open. Release. Do it one more time. I call this your point of suspension. Release. Now, if you were to sustain that moment for an entire phrase, you would have effortless, accurate, complete, and total control. The problem is the body doesn't want to do that. Okay, so we're going to go into this now. The green line on this head, which we'll be revisiting as we go through this PowerPoint, is what we call your pharyngeal mechanism. It's something that we often do not talk about. There's several things that we often do not talk about in the pedagogical vocal production world, all right? That green line in your head is not the soft palate, all right? It's not this, oh, hyperextended lift where we're, whoa, way up here, where I call it the Julia Childs effect. Oh, I'm very deep and very open, but if I started singing, this is what would happen to my sound. More towards the operatic. So point of suspension is actually a different set of muscles that are before we get to the soft palate lift, all right? But this pharyngeal mechanism, as it pulls into an optimal inner position, actually has the capacity to control the entire inner operation of you as a singer, turning you into a proverbial cello. So now here's the challenge. All right, in our body, and hopefully you'll be able to sort of see why we have a problem. Start from the beginning. All right, first of all, we have three things happening in three different parts of our inner mechanism. Number one represents your vocal folds. So exhale for me gently. Take in a big breath like you would normally tank up. Breathing in. And notice if you felt something right here at the top of that breath. Release again. Try it again. Breathe in deeply. And there's a little sensation right here at your throat. Okay, what is that? That is the immediate overpressurization of your vocal folds caused by too much volume of air in the actual mechanism. The air pressure below the folds gets exacerbated, and immediately you are challenged, which means as soon as you start articulating, you are going to lose control of all of your air right at that moment. Pharyngeal mechanism number two, we just talked about. This is the home of your vowels, and we'll play again with this a little bit as we go through this PowerPoint. Number three is the lips, the teeth, and the tip of the tongue, which would be your primary onset practices. All right, your consonant production that are done in the front of the face at the level of like the hard palate, or what we will call the forward lift. So you see these three things happening at once. Well, now if I breathe in and I start to move air, okay, I hit number one, I hit the folds, I grab a vowel and I catch a consonant as I leave the building, it causes a timing related issue. All right. In order for us to experience total freedom, total ease, and total vocal health in terms of the magic of us. All three of these things have to engage at the same exact simultaneous moment. So I'm going to have you, I want to make sure, and maybe Jesse and Judith, you can all, Mary, make sure everybody's muted right now, because I'm going to have them start to play with this a little bit. I want to maintain your privacy, ladies. All right. So this all sounds super sexy, but how do we actually feel it? How do we make it work? All right. I'm going to have you go ahead and try things a couple different ways for a second as we talk about these bits right here. So I'm going to have you all pull some song to mind that's kind of your go-to song or a chorus song. It doesn't really matter what you sing because you're behind your mic, okay? But what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to take in a big breath, just take in, or what is right now currently your normal breath. It's either way. If you feel like you've got supreme control already, take in a bigger breath and try this, okay? So you're going to breathe in, and I want you to take in a big breath, and then I want you to sing as normal, okay? So just sing as you regularly do, okay? So here we go, breathing in big, and sing a phrase. All right. And pause for a second. All right, so now we're just going to add one piece. I'm going to have you breathe in silently. And I want you to do exactly the same thing again on the second breath. Reset that breath gently and inaudibly. Try to do an inaudible second breath and third breath. Okay, so here we go. Breathing in gently. Bravo. And release. All right, now, any of you that had noticed anything, please put it in the chat. Now, when I said to you that you already know some of the things that I'm talking about today, it's because we function as an involuntary breathing system normally. When we're walking around outside, we are not thinking about breathing. We are not unless we're exerting ourselves at exercising or power walking or something that's causing us to breathe more actively, we are unaware of the moments where we equalize pressure. So let me show you what it feels like for us to have an involuntary breath. Okay, so again, hands towards self, release the air first. Breathe in gently and inaudibly. Hold still. Now in this moment, everything feels open. Release. But what I'm going to say is that something was closed. And I'm going to go another step and say something's always closed. Okay. So as the height, and you can do this behind your microphone, at the height of that gentle inhalation, where everything feels very open, the vocal folds have actually reset and closed. So while we're feeling this amazing open space in our body, the vocal folds are actually side by side. Now in Bel Canto, what we understand is that the vocal folds are always side by side, unless we're opening them to take in air, or we're aggressively pushing air out. But when we breathe in our natural state, we're not doing either aggressively. We're not inhaling aggressively, and we're not exhaling aggressively. We're not pushing our air out as human beings when we're walking around. We're literally just resetting gentle subglottal pressure below the folds as we breathe, okay? So you've just felt what it feels like to equalize pressure. We are going to talk about the emergency systems of the body and the Kegel, but I'm going to put that in for a little bit later, okay? So just hold that there's some bits here. Let's go back to the pharyngeal wall again. I want you to do 2 more vowels for me before we continue. So exhale again. This time think E, pull your hands towards you and think E on the inhalation. And release. And you may have noticed that feels different to you than the ah. And now let's think ah like cat, breathing in gently. And you may have even felt the ah open you up more. So I call it the movie screen vowel because that vowel shape opens up. Now what you're feeling shape shifting, okay, that's moving into these shapes, that is your pharyngeal mechanism. That is the magical wall. So let's see, let me just show you this because this is the next one that blows your mind. If I'm saying to you that nothing's going out, then where's it going and how do I get heard? And what I'm going to say is that everything's an inside job. So this is a little bit of a complicated map, especially for those of you that have never seen me before, but let me just walk you through it and then we'll do some exercises. So the little line that is over the yellow X, okay, that is your hard palate. Everybody can kind of, as long as you've washed your hands, you can feel your hard palate. It's the only hard surface we actually play with in Bel Canto, with the exception of the rib stability, all right? All right, so you got the hard palate. You've got your pharyngeal wall, which you've just felt. All right, now exhale. Let me see if you notice this. Breathe in gently again. Hold still. Now, as I ask you to hold still in that position, see if you can notice that it feels like you're holding something back or there's a tiny tug on that mechanism. Release and try it one more time. Breathing in. Hold still. All right. That tiny tug, release. That tiny tug is represented by that backwards arrow heading towards the vocal folds. That is the sensation of what is called back pressure. Some people may have heard a coach talk about back pressure, but it's not something that would naturally make sense to us because we're doing this as we sing. We're moving this way. We're not going to feel the impact of back pressure, okay? But we're about to do two exercises. One, and I'm gonna take myself out of the PowerPoint here for a second. The hand, and then I wanna do the candle. All right, I may come back in here in a second, but I'm gonna stop share for a moment. All right, so now I'm gonna have everybody go to that song, whatever the song was that you were singing, okay? I'm gonna do it two ways. So the first way is I'm going to have you put your hands up and I want you to let the hands move as you sing. Okay, so what it would be is let the hands do what your artistry is doing. Don't try to control the hands, just let them do what they do. They're gonna go with your game, okay? So here we go. You're taking a breath in and go ahead and sing for me. Let the hands move. Bravo, ladies, bravo. Okay, great. And you can stop. Okay, so and we're moving. You can feel it. Like as we're doing the artistry, it's like what you're feeling right there is, I'm going to call it the gas pedal, but it's kind of like a thrust or a little tiny bit of pressing or pushing the sound out of the instrument. This is natural to us, all right? Even if we weren't sweet Adelines, if we were just singing, this is what the body would do. So what I want to reassure your mind as you're doing this work with me today is that everything I'm talking about that's happening for you is happening for very logical and very natural reasons. There's not really any reason why you would understand what I'm about to share with you unless you met me. My body is functioning like an 1800s singer. And I believe that the sound of an 1800s singer would be very different than today's singer, all right? We're using much bigger breath mechanics than they were. All right, so now let's see if we can feel this magic, all right? So exhale for me gently. You're gonna turn your hands towards you this time. I want you to breathe in gently. Go to the point of suspension first. So breathe in all the way to that lift. Here we go. Now release. I'm going to ask you, I know you're all thinking really hard right now because you're trying to do this with me. I'm going to ask you to go to fake face. Fake face is, you know, that face you're in a cocktail party and somebody comes towards you and you don't remember their name and you have to put your little lights on and go, ah, so nice to see you. Let's go to fake face as we do this. All right. See if you can feel a deeper connection to that moment. Okay, here we go. Breathing in gently. Bravo. Now, some of you are at the point of suspension and some are not right now. It's a little deeper than we're used to. Notice how my body pulls into alignment. For those of you that have ever met Rob Mance, you know about alignment. It's the body's straight up position. Exhale one more time. Come into alignment. One more time. Breathing in gently. It's okay. You're going to find it. There you go. And you should, if you're at that moment, you're feeling the tug. Okay, so now you're going to go to this moment this time. And as you sing, instead of going this way, we're going to take the hands and we're going to go the opposite way. You're going to pull towards yourself or pulse backwards. Okay, so here we go. Exhale. Keep that fake face just for fun. Watch what happens. Okay, so breathing in gently and sing. Bravo. Bravo. Oh, sorry. Let me turn my ringer off. Bravo. Now, did anyone just right now, just by a show of hands, did anyone feel a difference between this way and this way? How many of y'all noticed a distinction pulling towards self as opposed to pushing away from self? Okay. As you put something in the chat as to what you noticed. Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to do a little exercise and then I'm going to have you all do it. No, I think we're going to do the candle flame first. Let's do this first. Okay. For those of you that are new to me. So, and then we'll do it. So the question I usually ask is how many of y'all know how Pavarotti, Mario Lanza, and Caruso were trained to control their air? Anybody? Okay, cool. Those of you that have been with me, obviously you would know. Okay. Now, what's interesting is that in Italy, I actually believe there's a word missing from the translation of Italian vocal production, which is the fundamental vocal production in the world today. Whether you're singing Bel Canto or you're singing Puccini, which is most barbershoppers, bigger abdominal breath, moving air. In Italy, we wouldn't learn it the way we learn it here. So in Italy, a teacher might put a candle right in front of your mouth, light the flame. And how many of us would think, okay, the instruction would be don't blow out the flame. If you're a good barbershopper, right, that would be enough right there, right? Don't blow out the flame. But guess what? The instruction was do not move, bend, or flicker the flame. Now, all you've got to do is get into the mind of Pavarotti. And if you go to early Pavarotti YouTubes, you will hear this sound. So what an Italian singer was taught to do was to open up the instrument, which we all do, right? We open it up and then hold the air back. Maintain the consistent, gentle, subglottal air pressure. All right, so this is the distinction. Everybody go to your go-to breath, whether it's belly, excuse me, or all the way down to the pelvic floor, which I'm going to just say what the distinction is: belly, Puccini, pelvic floor, Wagner. So now we can start to put our little woohoos on as to, okay, why in barbershop might we occasionally have challenges with our breath control and our results, because our breath pressure is so great that it's enough to go across a 65-piece orchestra. That's a Wagnerian breath. Okay, so exhale again. Inhale gently and inaudibly. Okay, that's the point of suspension. So this time what we're going to do, we're going to play a game. I want you to do it two ways. Breathe and sing the way you normally do, all right? Because what we're going to try to do is give you a contrast. Putting your hand right in front of your mouth, 2 inches away. This will be your pretend candle flame. And what I'd like you to do is take whatever breathing process is normal for you, what you're used to using, and then I want you to sing, keeping your hand 2 inches away, and feel what you feel. Okay, so here we go. Breathing in normally and sing. Do a couple of phrases. Bravo, bravo. Okay, now, how many of you felt something on your hand? Okay, so it could have been sort of a consistent air, or it could have been, anybody notice that when you hit certain onsets, certain consonants, that you'd feel like a pulse of air or sort of an explosion, boom, right against the hand. Okay, now let's see if we can do two things at once. All right, so we're going to take one hand and I'm going to pull you to your point of suspension. So we're going to try to pull you into the inner instrument, and the instruction I'm going to give you is try to focus on holding that sensation of that stability of that wall a little more steady. Okay, we're going to put the hand back there again and sing. On the second breath and the third breath, pull the wall back into position and focus on stabilizing it while you sing. All right, let's just see what happens, okay? So 2 inches away. Here we go. Gentle, inaudible breath in and go. Reset. And reset. And release. How many of you noticed a distinction between 1 and 2? How many felt something? How many noticed they didn't get the big plosives on their hand? Okay, this is because you're magic. You are designed to be magic. You are all magic. You are all capable of having beautiful, effortless, free, ringing voices that just do their job for you without having to micromanage yourself all the time. Holy moly. Okay, so what's the magic? I'm going to do this way because I think this will be easier. But I'll tell you what, come off mute if you want to just share what you noticed real quick while I draw this, all right? And then we'll come back in. Anybody?
It was a freer sound, Deborah.
Is that Kat? Who's speaking?
That's me. I'm in my jammies. That's why I'm dark.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah, it was a freer sound. Oh, I love your jammies. Oh, nice to see you. You noticed that. Okay, so I'm going to draw why this works, okay, and try to help you understand. What I'm asking is just to be curious about the possibility that we are designed to sing freely. We are physically built to be able to control our instrument without so much aggravation and struggle. So exhale, everybody. Gently. Do the hands towards you because this is the easiest kinesthetic way to help feel this. Wide open, right? It's like your inside space is open. Release. All right. When you come to that moment, just draw it on this face. Okay, so the point of suspension, everybody exhale. I'm going to give you the visual. Just do it again for me. Think ah. Gently and inaudibly breathe in. All right, my body pulls into that position and stays still for an entire phrase. And on the next phrase, it just does it again and again and again. And it never does anything different. It is always exactly the same. This is what's crazy about this work. Yes, we're doing something different, but all we are taking away from ourselves is this job of micromanagement of our air. That's the only thing you're going to lose. All right. Now, why does this work? So vocal folds here. So you're pulling initially into what I call the point of suspension. You are basically creating what everybody talks about doing anyways, right? Which is create a bigger, lots of coaches say this in different ways. Lots of singers know this. You open the instrument and you're creating space in the instrument. But because, exhale for me, see if you can feel the tug, breathe in gently. Hold still for me. You feel that backwards feeling, that feeling like I gotta hold something back. At that moment, you are creating an subglottal pressure. That is the equalization of the pressure over the vocal folds, release. Now, what happens is the vocal folds start to function at their highest level of efficiency because they're designed to. So if I say to you, everybody make sure you're muted. Okay, so if I'm going to ask you a question, I'm just going to say, so in this COVID environment, how are you all doing? How are you holding up? Just answer the computer. Yeah. Now, did anybody notice whether they took a breath before they answered me? No. No. And here's why. Because the vocal folds are always ready to make tone. The vocal folds are always approximated. Your voice is always ready to sing. We just have an idea in our mind that singing and speaking are different and require a different breathing approach. What if just by the stabilization of the body will sing a wall of sound that's unbelievable. All right, I'm going to do a little exercise and then I'm going to have you try it with me, okay? And then this is for me, I'm trying to like blow out the mind a little bit just so you're curious, all right? Not because I'm trying to change your life in any kind of dramatic way, meaning you don't have to change anything about your singing if you don't want to. But if you're struggling, or if you're feeling the signs of aging, if you're feeling like the mechanism is no longer agreeing with you like it did when you were 20, then you want to understand this because we can rejuvenate it on a dime and bring you back to full glory. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate this given my morning. Let's see if I can do this. All right, now I call this one breath, one song. And then I'm going to have you try it. So I'm going to breathe in. Fa la 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 la. One breath. All right, let's see how many can do it. You can, depending on your voice part, you can pick your own key. All right, so try to get mine out of your head. All right, I'm going to tell you the trick before you start. You're going to breathe in, hold back, keep holding back. As you finish your phrases, pull backwards. Okay, let's see how far you can go. Here we go, breathing in gently and go. Bravo. How many made it on one breath? First time out. Nadine. And Nadine has a little edge because she's been with me a little bit. Judith, you made it on one breath. Did that surprise you, Judith? Just a little bit. Okay, how many had to take a second breath? You had to take one more. Did anyone notice that it happened right as you were going towards the higher notes, like as you were starting to go up in an interval jump? All right, that's because our bodies say high note, more pressure, more air, more force. That's going to help us. And unfortunately, that's where we lose our control. Okay, now let me show you the trick again, and then we'll try it one more time. Okay, so I'm breathing in. This is what the body wants to do. Let me show you this first. We breathe in. Fa la 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 la. So we're used to pushing the air out at the end of the phrase and having to gasp to bring it back in. Does this make sense? Okay, good. So now what I'm doing is I'm not letting my body collapse. I'm pulling in, becoming a cello. Fa la 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 la. So I'm pulling against my instrument this way. So use kinesthetics and play that game. Let's try it one more time. See if you can get any farther. Okay. Bravo, ladies. Okay. So exhale. Inhale gently. and go. All right, now how many of you got closer that time? How many made it? Totally made it. So more made it. Okay, now, did you make it, Kathy? Almost, right? So almost to the end. All right, so this exercise is a great one to play with, just to, first of all, it challenges the mind a little bit, okay? We freak out about air. We think, oh my, how many of y'all noticed some other things about that exercise that were surprising? Did anyone know, what did you notice, Kathy?
You know, it was funny because when you're going through and you're getting, it's like where the phrase ends are,
Yeah.
you almost want to pause. You want to pause. And I found gaps in my sound and I thought, okay, don't do that. That's probably not helping you.
Correct.
So,
So there's, you know, and this, you know, this as a director too, that we will go for like a chord, let's say, and we're ringing a chord and then it'll suddenly collapse. And it's not for any logical reason. It's like, you know, or the big finish in a tag. We've got the tag, we've got the chord, here we are, boom. And then suddenly we go like this and we lose it. We lose the ring. We lose that suspension that we've just attained at onset. And then we go towards the audience with that energy and suddenly the sound morphs. So so vocal fold function for me, this is the new terrain for you to consider, is that if the vocal folds are not happy, your life sucks as a singer. I'm sorry, because like that list, every single thing gets exacerbated when the vocal folds are not able to produce an efficient tone. That's basically, and it'll happen, like how many of y'all would say, yeah, I occasionally feel passaggio, like those transitional areas bug me, right? Or I'm a tenor and I'm up on the high note and suddenly it doesn't want to work. Or somebody's telling me I'm too loud, right? I can't maintain the ping in a smaller way. Lots of little challenges are associated with these puppies. All right, so for how many of y'all today, some of this is like, okay, little light bulbs. It's little light bulbs like, woo, what if there was another way? And what if it didn't require us to spend 30 years of our life trying to figure it out? 30 minutes, right? It's literally just helping us understand something profound. Okay, now, if we, in the men's world of barbershop, which I don't know how many of you all have had access to Steve Scott or Rob Mance, but let me just say those names real quick because they're both doing good work. So Steve Scott came into barbershop and started telling everybody to depressurize, stop putting so much pressure under the folds. Okay, yay. Now what I'm gonna say, I'm gonna take it another level. I'm gonna say, I want you to go to completely neutral pressure. That it's not just depressure, it feels like nothing at all. Okay. And then Rob Mance came in. Now watch, everybody, go ahead and exhale as if you're going towards the computer. Just let your body collapse. You feel how everything wants to roll towards this. Now pull your hands and open the body up. All right, now just go a little bit farther. All right, so yeah, Kathy, can I have you try something? So I just watched. Okay, so exhale for me. Give me facial lift, like forward lift or a smile. All right, now pull towards yourself in audibly, but pull those hands closer to your head. There. That feels deeper on the preparation than normal. Try it again. Release. There you go. Breathe in normally like you normally would. There you are. There is a depth, meaning we almost get to the point of suspension, which I say is at the ears, but sometimes we only go to here and then we start doing this, so we start to lose it. Okay, so in some cases, let me just say, Nadine, you can do this for me. Exhale again. towards. Now go ahead and go into forward lift for me. So you're, Now watch Nadine. Now go pull all the way to point of suspension for me. And almost there. And yes, now you went there. So she adjusted by about a half an inch right at the end when I looked at her and said, not yet. And then she pulled in a little bit more. Okay. So this is this piece, the point of suspension. If you go to my YouTube channel, which is Debra Lynn Bel Canto, what I did when COVID hit is I started breaking this stuff down into very small chunks. Okay. So if your minds are like, what? It's okay. Go to point of suspension. That's number one. And then go to the, I'm going to say point of suspension and onsets becomes the two really critical ones because you're going to control everything from your onsets. All right, let me see if there's questions here. Let's hang reset on the breath. Kathy, was that one for you?
Yeah, I'm listening. What I'm hearing from you is a different verbiage than what I'm used to hearing.
Yep.
I think that in theory, I understand what you're saying. You're just using different words for me when, and you're talking about suspension and all that. At the end, you're never supposed to collapse your instrument. You should always be in alignment and it should always be loose and free. And we always say, reset on the breath. Every breath gives you an opportunity to reset, put everything back in line and do all that. And I don't remember exactly the words that you were saying when I wrote that in the, chat.
So here's the distinction. The distinction is the quality of the breath that we're taking in Bel Canto is different. Okay, so let me see if we can, that's a great point. So let's see if we can adjust. All right. So now make sure you're muted because I'm going to ask you to make noise. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate and then I'm going to have you do it. So what we're going to do is pull a point of suspension and then I'm just going to make noise. And then as we're doing it when we're doing it all together, I will just be saying reset. Okay, but let me show you what reset looks like to me. So I'm going to breathing in. Reset, reset. So the reset, instead of it being a breath where I'm actually actively taking in a breath, it's going to be the actual reset of the subglottal pressure. So I'm going to see if I can help you feel the distinction between those two, because the body will do it for you naturally without this idea that you have to take in air. All right. So exhale for me first. Let me see if you can feel something. We're going to take our attention to our ribs. Okay. So breathing in gently. Okay. Exhale again. Now this time breathe in through your nose. And you may have noticed that your air went to your back. It didn't go in the same way. Release. Yep. Yeah. Thanks. Everybody just try it. Okay. So now breathe through your mouth and you'll feel this. You'll feel the front side. Okay. Exhale again. A lot of breathing today. Breathe in through the nose. The back opens up. Okay. The first process for me is that there's two channels for the air to go into the system. One is through the back channel, one is through the front channel. My belief is, and we're going to talk about those emergency systems of the body, is that because we're wired for emergency, protecting ourselves, the back channel would be sinuses. When we breathe through our nose, it's like it gets routed down the back of the airway, even though there's only one airway. And when we breathe through the mouth, it kind of is a straight shot down towards the stomach consciousness. All right. So now exhale gently, breathe through your mouth, but direct it to your back. Open up your back on the mouth breath. Go. Yeah, exactly. You can open up your back. All right. So now release. Most of my mechanics are upper body. That's the nature of Bel Canto. Bel Canto, earliest form of breathing technique is basically all rib cage engagement. And lots of you have been told to open up and hold still on your ribs. Puccini breath is now the current Italian, would be more of the diaphragmatic or around the inner tube kind of effect. All right, that's a Puccini breath. And then the Wagnerian breath will go all the way down to the pelvic floor. It is also controlled from a Kegel. So The challenge is, have you ever noticed that when you're asked to open up your ribs and you breathe with the belly and you engage the diaphragm, that your ribs almost automatically start to come in? There's no way really to keep the ribs stable because the diaphragm is changing the air pressure in the lungs. Technical. It's just like you're changing your air pressure as you go across the phrase, and as you run out of air pressure, in come your ribs. So we're going to try something where we're going to make this noise and this reset. Okay, so exhale for me. Start with a gentle, inaudible breath, okay? But feel open, wide open inside. Here we go. And you're all open, everything's open, and now let's make noise. Reset. 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 Bravo. Now, how many of you noticed yeah, I think I looked down right as Kathy went, ow. So maybe working too hard. Okay, so how many of y'all felt something different on the nature of that reset? Did you notice that you were comfortable, air went in, but you didn't actually think, I'm gonna breathe? How many? It felt different. It's like, it's not I have been quoted to say, I don't breathe. Okay, and why I say that is because I'm never thinking about air, ever. I'm aware of the fact that my body, I trust my body to reset the pressure, just like I would if I were walking outside. I'm doing a controlled involuntary breath. All right, so let's go back to our go-to song for a second. We have a few minutes and then we'll do a little Q&A. Go-to song.
Deborah, you have about 5 minutes.
Perfect, thank you.
And you did have a question about, what about urgent breaths?
Urgent breath. So what is an urgent, who asked that? Hillary. What is an urgent breath, Hillary?
Well, it's when you just want to take a very quick, really very quick breath to make a point about something, but is there time to do it the way you say?
Oh yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, you can breathe faster with this work because your ability to notice when you reset, it's a very quick motion. So I think what we have to remember is that if you feel an urgency in your breath, you've lost too much air pressure.
Well, the urgent breath is actually designed in the music. It's just what we call it, and it's built in to take a
right.
quick breath to make
So the Germans call it a Luftpause, an air pause. It's just a very quick little breath. That's exactly what you're doing here, but we're doing them all the time. So if you're in a place where you need to reset your pressure, like for example, you open up, let's try this real quick. All right. So, cause we have such little time, and see if you can feel it, Hillary. So everybody exhale. This is your only full breath in a song. Filling up, open up, suspend, and sing. Go. And now reset and sing. Okay, so go back. So I can see the look on some of your faces. Okay, so now go this way. We're going to do this way real quick. So breathe in, and you're going to take your hands and let them go this way first. Okay, breathing in, and let your hands go. And you can feel this is what the body's telling you. Okay, so now exhale, pause, flip towards you, bring the hands towards you, all the way up to your head, and go backwards, go. Bravo, bravo. Okay, so Hillary, do you notice that when you turn and go towards yourself, the feeling in your body is different in the breathing process? That's all you need to kind of connect with today, because this is probably really new information.
Yeah, you're right. It's mind blowing.
It is mind blowing. It will also be mind blowing for, if you have noticed as we've been doing this today, as you've pulled in and been more stable and pulled towards you, your accuracy is different. Your note to note singing is different. Notes aren't bothering you. You're not feeling, your brain is not distracted by high notes and low notes. Suddenly you're just singing Why? Because your vocal folds can make any pitch on a dime. They're designed to do that. You're magic. Okay, so were there any other questions besides that? Does anyone have a question as we finish up? Good. So how many of you all discovered something today about yourself? Okay, a possibility, a curiosity. That's what you want to, you keep it in that level. You know, I would say, you know, even Kathy, I'll just speak to you because I've heard you so many times, and this is a gorgeous instrument. You're a well-trained singer who has been singing a long time, and chances are has developed very good control of the folds. So I think when we have training and we have that, we do get used to different breathing systems, and we can use those different breathing systems, especially if they work for us at the level we want them to. My feeling is that it's for those that struggle, those that aren't getting the results they want, those that are losing control of their instrument at a time in their life where they're like heartbroken, especially now during COVID. So what I'm going to say to you all is just be curious, be gentle with self. I've just thrown a lot at your brain. Go to my YouTube channel, Debra Lynn Bel Canto. You can watch any of those videos there that you're curious about, and interact with me. If you have a question or something's bothering you, put it in the comment and I will respond to you. That is my vision, is that you have what I have. And why do I want you to have it? I want you to have it because I feel absolutely nothing ever. I only sing. I don't warm up. I just sing. I don't struggle, I just sing. There is no high note, there is no low note. There is no problem because it's all gone, because the way that the inside of my body functions is as an optimal acoustic resonating instrument designed to amplify and expand sound. And for anyone that wants more of this, please just reach out to me. We'll figure it out. We'll do a little call together or something to help you understand. Thank you for being with me today, ladies. This was awesome. Glad to have you. Glad to have you.
Thank you very much, Deborah.
Oh, I see one more quick question. How do we manage to do that when we cannot have our hands towards our face? I'm going to recommend that you have to do a little kinesthetic work initially, and that when you can't have your hands to your face, just get used to that feeling of what it feels like to pull into alignment and hold still. Okay, bravo. Bravo, ladies.
Thank
you so
you.
much.
Sure.
Very
Thank you,
welcome.
Deborah.
Thank you, Deborah.
You're welcome, ladies. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your
Thank you.
day.
Yeah, thank you.